All right, welcome to our very first reading video for Wind is Weird. If you would like to get into the Philosopher's Club, then you need to do the reading, or at least try to do the reading. And the reading for this week is Stickmen's Guide to Earth's Atmosphere in Layers. If this is your first time in class, I want to do one big emphasis, and that is that your responsibility is not to read the entirety of the book. I do recommend that you read the entirety of this book. Frankly, it doesn't take very much time, but that's not what is required. The absolute minimum that is required to kind of check off that box and to get into the Philosopher's Club is for you to try to get this book. If you try to get this book and you can't get it, you get to tick that off. I should actually make some real checkoff boxes for this. The next step, if you get it, is you need to set a timer for 5 minutes and then just read at this book. What we call this is doing a tasting of this book, sort of a book sampling. Sometimes we refer to it as X-raying the book, although I guess those are actually slightly different things. The X-raying is more official, more these sort of steps from of how you look at a book just from the outside, how to judge a book by its cover, whereas the tasting is that plus the inside, this kind of a random affair with this. Okay, so what do you do with this? First thing you do is you read the title, Stickmen's Guide to Earth's Atmosphere in Layers. And you ask yourself, do I have any questions about that? Who are stickmens? What are stickmens? What is the deal with the layers in this? I don't know. Anything else there? You could ask who the authors were and whatever. You could also just look at the cover and say, what the heck is that thing? The answer is an X-15 plane. They're amazing. What the heck is going on with that cloud? Are tornadoes really that tall? Do tornadoes actually suck up cows? Is the International Space Station actually higher than all of the rest of the stuff? This is a satellite of some sort. What is going on with that? Why is that low? In the bottom, you kind of can't see it because of that sticker, but there's like this weird building shrug going on here. The storm clouds actually go this far above the Earth, right? Note that more time has probably been spent on making this cover than any other single part of the book. It is important, sometimes, or at least useful to say, what the heck is going on with this, all right? If you set your 5-minute timer, right, we're probably about a minute into it right now. You should actually do this on your own right after I do this. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Because I've already done it, and then yeah, whatever. Life is hard. Go ahead and then read the back of this and see if there are any interesting questions that you'd like to ask for that. Next step, you can do the table of contents. I'm just seeing this. I am seeing more pictures, right? We could ask some questions about some of this stuff. There's this. Ooh, Aurora Borealis. Okay, so you can take a look at this. We see contents. Oh, that's interesting. Look at how the contents are arranged. Can you figure out what's going on with those colors there? You could read those. You could say, are there anything that's particularly interesting to me in that? And then you can go to those directly. What we usually also then do is go to the very back of the inside of the book, or kind of reading the book from the outside in to look at the index. Is there anything that's interesting in the index there? Sprites and elves. I didn't expect to see that. Sprites means pixies, ghosts. Elves means mythological figures. Yeah, so you might want to go to page 17. That seems interesting. X-15 rocket planes. What did I tell you? I was really into rocket planes for a while. Rainmaking. Is that a thing that you can actually do? I think I've never been clear about that. Mars, mesosphere, the International Space Station, clouds, gases. Sorry, I'm not 8 years old. Yeah, great, fantastic. You don't need to read all those. The point is just to kind of get a taste of those. Anything else in the end there? Okay, there's a glossary that tells you what certain words mean. I always feel like that's the sort of thing that the editors say, you should put that in there because that's important for kids to know how to use a glossary. It's sure, why not? But frankly, it's much more important at this point that you then just flip through here randomly. Watch this. Randomly. Oh, wow. Look at that. It's gorgeous, isn't it? 5 minutes are still going when you're actually doing this. And then you kind of look through this and see, there's the rocket planes. Sorry, very good, right? And your point is just to kind of move through here randomly. Oh, the orbiting satellites. I really wanted to, as part of the lesson, get you to actually understand where satellites are in relationship to the sky. Never did that. Too much to pack in the lesson, Yeah, your point. Oh, wow, look at this. The helium atoms up here. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And the exosphere. Yeah. We didn't talk about the exosphere. That is because I hate it. Um, okay. Hi, sorry. This is too interesting. I'll stop with this. Why are we even doing this? If this is your first time in the class, you might not know about something called Pareto's rule. Rule? Pareto efficiency? That's a different thing. There's this Italian, we're all about the Italians this week. There's this Italian economist in the late 1800s that noticed something interesting about who owned the land inside of Italy. And that was that 80% of the land, so that's like almost everybody, was owned by about 20% of the people. So that's like not that many people. And when he looked at all sorts of things, he found that this a power law, I think, was a really common thing. That like 20% of the trees, I'm making up this fact, this is totally false, make 80% of the oxygen. That can't possibly be right. Maybe 20% of the species. That 20% of the carnivores on the African savanna eat 80% of the animals. I have no idea if this is right. But numbers that are like that and are like that keep popping up. 20 and 80 aren't even that special. You can also have 10 and 90. You can also have 5 and 80. The numbers don't even have to add up to 100. The basic rule is that by doing a small amount of things, you can get a disproportionately large impact. And going through a book and just taking 5 minutes and then doing that the whole mess of books can be a really fantastic way of learning a lot about something. You don't have to read the book all the way through. One kind of final note with this, I'll include this with the email that I send out, notifying you of this that this video is ready. I was asked by a bunch of parents, could you please send out the list of the books at the beginning of the course? This month, that's a very reasonable request. This month I'm trying to do that. There's some troubles with this. One is I never really know what book I need to recommend until that actual week. But I know that it's helpful for a lot of people to get these books ahead of time, particularly if you live in an area where it's hard to get books. So here's the deal. Try to get the books ahead of time. If you can't, it's always okay. There aren't as many fantastic books that are, I don't know, good for you probably, about the weather, about the wind, about the atmosphere, about air, as there are for most topics like black holes. There's so many great books about black holes. Not so many for this. So if you just go to your library and you like look through the weather section, the kids section, the adult section, the young adult section, whatever, and you find your own books for that, that's totally fine. In fact, that might even be better than me just like spoon feeding you these particular books. There's something wonderful about just having you go out and do that. So feel free to do that. And honestly, if your library has no books at all, your bookstore has no books at all about weather, remember, you can actually go to your bookstore and do this so long as you're very gentle and nice with their books. If they have no books at all on wind or weather, you could also just grab any science book and do this with that. That would be enough to get you inclusion in the Philosophers Club. Okay. Although, frankly, if you're going to be even more lazy, just trying to get it, failing, we have said, is enough for that. All right. Happy reading this week.